Recording in progress.
All right, I'll call this meeting to order at 7:30. Mr. Clerk, now that you've walked away, please call the roll.
Okay. Supervisor Gail Schnitzer Eisenberg.
Here.
Trustee Kate Cassell McNally.
Here.
Trustee Stephen Mosier. Here. Trustee Jessica Tucker.
Here.
Our assessor Jan Churchwell.
Here.
And administrator and deputy clerk Hopkins.
Here.
And as well as we have our communications director, Heather Oliver. We have Dr. Oliver here. And Mr. Anderson, our community outreach.
Oh,
I mean, our
Dr.
community-
Oliver.
our
Yeah.
Oh.
Committee. No,
You
Dr.
might have.
I'm sorry, Dr. Olinger and communication director.
And I understand.
And we have our food pantry manager online. All right.
All right, James Howard.
Nope, food pantry manager, Arnold.
Oh, and Arnold.
And James is now here as well.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Supervisors reports. We had, even though it was a shorter month with days off, we had an exciting time here. We had an in-service with the staff that was very successful, including the sexual harassment training, which was for our staff as well as township officials county. We had a lovely blood drive that Heather helped organize with the Park District and Jen von Gershwitz's office. And I learned I really need to eat beforehand. Highly recommend. We had a number of various holiday events, which was for how cold it can be in this area, but we had wonderful, tree lightings and menorah lightings throughout Winnetka, Northfield, Kenilworth, over December. We welcomed Miggy as a permanent part of our team. You have been given her resume attached to your board packet. I'm sure you all agree that she is a perfect fit for our kind of
Very
work.
impressive.
And just her personality with welcoming people into the building has been just perfect match to the need. As Arnold's report made it clear, we've had a lot of residents using the pantry. And obviously a lot of people coming for passports. We have a lot of people coming into the office. And that was certainly the determining factor in saying we need someone permanent there because it has not let up. We thought that the stamp process would be the end of it, but it's not. As you know, subsidies ended December 31st for healthcare under the ACA. The Illinois Department of Human Services has extended the deadline to apply for Illinois marketplace plans through the end of this month. So Heather has been getting out that information for people as well as about SNAP changes that go into effect on February 1st. We have a toolkit from Greater Chicago Food Depository she's using as well, just to get that information out, because we do know that many of our food pantry resident users do also use SNAP, and now we have that information from our November experience. The scholarship applications for the toy scholarship opened as well. So information about that went on social media, but it will also be in the Courier, which is going out today. It should have been mailed today. So essentially, if you know a graduating senior who is going to an Illinois university, let them know that they can qualify based on their civic experience, leadership, demonstrated leadership experience, as well as an interview and essay about the role of township government. There are examples online of prior winners. We have not had a winner, to my knowledge, from New Trier Township, and I really want that to happen. So we have had applicants, but it's not an easy scholarship. I would put it that way. The annual meeting is coming up April 14th. It will be at the Wilmette Public Library, so do mark your calendars. And Toy Lobby Day is the next day. So get excited for that if you are interested. We'll talk a little bit more about legislation that's coming up when we get to that point of the agenda. Does anyone have any questions about the supervisor's report?
If I had someone who might be interested or a candidate for the Illinois Township, do I tell their mother or them to tell you, or how do?
Yep, they
what-
can email me to set up a time. They can also interview you. It has to be any township official that they can have their, but because they didn't have the application on their website yet, we said just email me and I'll send you it. But now I have the PDF,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I can send that around to the whole board so everyone can distribute. We were just ahead of them. All right. So next in line is approval of the minutes. Unfortunately.
No, I have to say,
Yeah.
please, please, I know I've said this before, but, it's not excusable getting them to you at this time, this late time. And I'm still learning the whole process. I'm trying to get it, and it's not successful. And one of the reasons why I held off on sending you those, I was thought, oh, well, I'll get them both, and wrong. I should just give you November. So I'm really, embarrassed, but I hope you'll table them with, to give you adequate time to look. So at least you have the paper copy of this, and the other one should be available in another few days.
Okay. So
So forgive me if
Motion to table to the next meeting, the November 18th, 2025 and December 9th, 2025 meeting minutes.
is there a second?
Second.
Jessica, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. I'm sorry, just for the record,
yes.
trustee Peterson, is an excused absence. All right, clerk's report.
So clerk, in lieu of or in light of our presentation tonight, I'm gonna forego clerk's report. There have been some cool things happening, and I'll let you know in February.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention sorry, going back quickly. I forgot to mention the holiday tea for League of Women Voters of Winnetka, Northfield, Kenworth. That was wonderful. Thank you to Chuck for coming, and to Jerome for coming. So that was lovely. And Heather came as well. So there was an opportunity. It was the first time that we were invited to that program, and I hope it will be continued as well. Okay. The swearing in of the assessor. Clerk White.
I'm sorry, would you mind, my daughter said she was coming, I sent her at 7, she went home to do something,
Is on her.
and she's not here yet. Back.
All
Could
those,
we?
yeah, all those in favor of tabling,
Thank you,
the swearing in ceremony, please say aye.
thank you very much.
Okay. We'll make that, let's make that Kate as the motion and Jeff as like, take it. All right, financial report. James.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year.
Hi.
I'm gonna share my screen. And then let's walk through the financial report here. Again, we are still having an interesting year in terms of that second installment. The county, having its woes with the software, has given out 2 distributions, both of 20%. So we did receive some tax money in December, which is the good news. I am still uncertain as to when we'll see the remaining piece to that second installment, but you can see at 83% of the way through the year, we are now at 88% of our total property tax revenue received. So that is good news that the county is releasing disbursements. It's just not, I don't think, going as planned in terms of that software transition. So again, 3.3 million about we've received, budget's 3.7, so we're at 88%. Replacement taxes in at about 65%. That's 38,000 collected there. Interest, a nice beat for the year. We're already 73% better than budget at 86,000 collected on a $50,000 budget. So our investments are doing well, although we have had to pull down some of those investments to meet operations based on the delays with the county. So that is something to take into consideration. Also in 25, we saw 3 rate cuts from the Fed. Passport fees at 89% looks good, about 27,000 there. So all in, we're at about 3.4 million. Collected on about a $3.9 million revenue budget, puts us at about 89%. So we look down the expenditure categories. Again, we're already at 83% of the year gone by. You can see only 2 categories outside of that. Most of our categories are nicely within that 83% or below. So again, right now, agency programs, that's another third that goes out soon, 1.2 million spent there. That's at 67%. Contractual services, just a little elevated here at about 179,000 or 89% of that budget spent. And as well as building and town hall expenses, we're about 90% or 166,000 spent of 185. Personnel looks good. That's in at 78%, elected officials 75. So about 2.4 million spent so far to date. 4 million to the budget, so we're at 61% spent. Again, 83% of the way through. That looks good. We're coming in under budget. We're at about 60 and 62% respectively for both town and GA. And again, still drawing down those GA reserves and adding to the town fund at this point to the tune of about 1 million. So again, 2.25 is about where we started. And right now we're at about 3.26 million in ending fund balance. If we look at the distribution, property taxes lead the way at 96%, replacement tax 1, interest 2.5, passports 0.8. Then down here in those fund distributions for expense, agency programming in at 48%, child care 5, projects 1, contractual services 7, assessor about 3, building town hall expenses about 7, financial assistance 10, pantry 2, personnel 15, elected officials 1.5. So again, revenues over expenditures, as we are receiving some of that tax money, not quite at 100% yet. And then as we go through the detail, I'm not going to go through this line by line, just to point out, again, more agency programs to come. And then you can see some of the percentages. Again, some of this has already been in at 100% for the year. We talked about some of those contractual services like website maintenance, civic clerk, all of that paid in full. That's why that was at 100% pretty early on in our fiscal year. But again, with 2 months to go, most of these numbers will come down until those taxes come in. And then you can see we're looking pretty good right now in some of our BMO accounts. So we will look to replenish what we took from Schwab in terms of the town fund. Is again, we can look to put back some of that money now that some of those taxes have come in. So we'll probably make a recommendation, at roughly about, somewhere between 600 and 700,000 can go back into our investment fund, at Schwab. And again, that's managed by Sora-Feldinga. Outside of that, you can see all in, we're at about 3.2 million now in terms of our total cash position. This is all the detail in the report. I won't go through that line by line. I'll leave it up just to approve that number. I know we're going to start to do that in the minutes, but I'd be happy to take any questions from the board at this time.
I know we asked last month, but the other income, do we ever figure out what that is? It's a really de minimis amount and it's a small percentage of the budget, but
It's the Torma dividend.
oh. And then is that going forward going to continue to be a thing? I thought that we had stepped back from that.
We're in Torma.
Yeah, but okay, so if that's the case, then should we, and as we look towards next year's budget, should we have some?
It's not like we can bank on it because it's from them to give it to us. Right?
It's different all the time.
Yeah.
They divide it between all of the townships, so sometimes the amount is not the same.
Fun game.
Mhm.
And then, I thought that we were gonna be breaking out the Glencoe Youth Services into, 2 different sections.
That's going
Is that
forward.
going?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. Cool. And then, I know that, I think I saw a couple of still unclear traffic situations that are like July of last year. I'm looking at page 20 of 75, the reconciliation detail. This is in the BMO Town Fund. There's July 22nd, and then there's one from kind of early October. This seemed really far at this point. Do we have any recourse within, like, how long are we supposed to keep checks out there?
60 days.
Okay, so
Well, the one from July, Jan said that they didn't have that even
Says Illinois
Oh,
property.
that was okay, no, that the event was canceled.
Okay.
I did not realize that the IPAI clerk had not returned the check.
Oh,
So
okay.
I told Alicia that when she asked me about it last week.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's the one.
Oh,
It may not be out yet, but that's done.
Okay.
The one from October is what?
It's a blank, it's $176.40.
So if it's been redacted, that means it's GA.
I
Or,
can look into that.
yeah, this is town fund. 4075, all right, thank you. Good call.
Oh, thank you.
That's all I had.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Okay, other than following up on the check situation, do we now have on the checks void after 60 days or 120 or whatever? Okay,
Yeah.
good, so we won't have to
Not
back at
close.
this issue. Yeah. Wonderful, thank you.
The biggest culprits, if you will, is when we would do the community support.
Yeah.
What was to be called community support grants.
Mhm.
So now we have a new policy on that. So we want to be able to close our books and actually
Yeah.
have proper accounting.
Mhm.
Right.
Also, where now the program is going directly to the vendors rather than individuals, if federal vendors want to get paid. So.
Yeah, usually want to
They're
catch them
funny
right
like that,
away.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful that will fix that issue. All right, trustee Moser.
I would like to make a motion to approve the expenses as indicated in today's financial report for the period from December 1st, 2025, December 31st, 2025, as presented to the board this evening, January 13th.
Second.
Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please call the roll.
Okay, Supervisor Eisner.
Yes.
Trustee Castelli.
Yes.
Trustee Moser.
Yes.
And trustee Tucker.
Yes.
I would now like to move back to swearing in the assessor.
Raise your hand.
I brought you,
Oh, okay, great, thanks.
Could we
But I know it
head
from memory,
it
so.
in that direction towards the
Nice.
flag?
Nice over there by the flag and the
Yeah.
sign. Someone, oh, you can take a picture. Set down.
Yeah. Thank you. One more thing I was.
I love the artwork too. Look at that beautiful, the monarch butterfly right there. Yes, yeah. It's gorgeous.
So it's one of my favorite jobs as clerk to inaugurate the new elected officials. And as you know, Jan's job starts in January. And it's just a real sincere pleasure and duty for me to, and an honor because Jan does so much. And she's the one I hear about a lot around town. It's like, oh, the assessor and everything your office does. So with that in mind, get another 4-year term. So here I go. So it's my heart, but I don't. Okay. I please state your name.
Jan Churchwell, Jan Churchwell,
Having been duly elected as assessor
having been duly elected as assessor
of the Township of New Trier
of the Township of New Trier
in the County of Cook,
in the County of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United
and the
States
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as assessor
and that I will faithfully discharge my duties as assessor
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
My daughter arrived in time. Oh, and this, that's unanimous right there. There you go. Duty discharged.
Congratulations,
Yeah,
this is
thank
Jan's
you.
4th term.
Wow,
that's
that's
great. Your
great. Thank
dedication
you.
to our
Yes, thank you, thank you.
I'm getting used to it.
Wow.
And we're now in line for the assessor's report.
I just got sworn in.
That's why I had to do that first.
Exactly. Now I can legally state that I have practically nothing to report. Well, there was a meeting last Friday, but I was not feeling well at the end of the week, so I did not get there. Assessor, Northfield Township Assessor Alita Nally reported to me that there are a couple of maybes out there. The Board of Review has not sent out any results yet because of their late renewal of appeals. Probably nothing until February sometime. And following right along with that, the county assessor's representative said that all of the forms for 2026 may come out at the end of February. So very positive there. And then on the personal office note, Lynn's last day of office will be January 31st or Friday, January 30th in the office. I will have finished the selection we interviewed this week. Selection will be made this week. I'm simply rolling it around in my head, making up my mind. We had some very good, surprisingly good candidates. I had been warned not to have high expectations based on other people's responses to ads, similar ads. But as I say, I had some people whom I'm very, very happy about. They will, after one of them accepts, they will train over the next couple of weeks with Lynn doing the training, and then start full-time on Monday, February 2nd.
Right. Wonderful.
Look forward to meeting them.
Yes.
Public comment.
So far.
If seeing none, we'll go on to the committee funding presentations. As you all know, our committees are imperative to our procedures, to be able to go through all of those extensive applications to be our agency partners. Really is Herculean, and I'm so glad that we have such amazing committees to do that work. Every time we get an application, I'm just shocked by the quality of the individuals. And I know that we've had reports from all of our trustee liaisons throughout this process about how insightful the questions have been, and how useful that process has been. We will start with the Disability Support Funding and Oversight Committee.
Here, so I can either speak on his behalf, or if you wanna waive, and have one of the other two.
Let's go ahead and go to life stages then.
Cool. Come on up, buddy. Maybe catch your name tag too. So you can all be part of the club.
I don't know what you think of being rude. I'm taking notes on Wikipedia.
Okay. Well, I'm chair of the Life Stages Committee, and before I review the committee's recommendations for funding, I would first like to thank the other members of the committee who spent their time carefully scrutinizing of the agency funding applications. They are Cindy Fye, Nan Weiss-Ham, Stephen Hardy, Richard Drake, Michelle Schulin, Belle Lerner, and our trustee liaison, Stephen Moser. Now, on behalf of the entire committee, I would like to give special thanks to Steve Anderson for his excellent insights into the agencies and for his guidance in our deliberation. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for the kindness.
We received grant applications from 15 agencies with a total recommended funding from the committee of $472,000. Now, the first agency that we reviewed was Bare Necessities. They're requesting $3,000 for this year. And last year they were funded at the $2,500 level. A $500 increase was requested due to inflation. Their mission is to support youth with pediatric cancer through family support and counseling programs. The committee believes that the agency provides good value and suggests funding to be continued at the $2,500 level. The next agency is Blessings in a Backpack. They're a new agency for us to review, and they're requesting $66,800 this year. Their mission is to provide food on weekends during the school year for children who are food insecure. Now, our committee notes that SNAP and Food Pantry already exists for New Trier Township residents. The agency does not explain how they track and verify participation given privacy rules for students receiving free and reduced price lunches. The agency requests that we cover the cost of the entire program, $66,800.
Yeah.
Now, our committee believes that the agency needs to identify other funding that will sustain the program if the township funding is not renewed. Now, for all these above reasons, the committee does not suggest funding this agency at this time. The next agency reviewed is Cancer Wellness. They're requesting $45,000 this year for support services, which is no change from last year. They're also requesting $15,000 this year for wellness programs, which again is no change from 2025. Now, their mission to provide support services, wellness programs, educational programs for individuals with cancer. Now, the agency has spent approximately $120,000 on New Trier Township clients this last year. They are excellent value. We recommend continued funding of the support services at $45,000 and the wellness programs at $15,000. The next agency is Center of Concern. They're requesting $5,000 this year, which is no change from last year. Again, their mission is to provide housing, financial assistance, support services, and counseling for older adults and people with disabilities. The agency spent approximately $38,000 on New Trier Township clients last year. They're very good value, and we recommend continued funding at the $5,000 level. The next agency reviewed is Connections for the Homeless. They're requesting $25,000. They were denied funding in 2025. Their mission is to keep households at risk for homelessness in their homes through financial support, emergency shelter, and youth programs. In 2025, last year, they spent $102,000 on New Trier clients, which is excellent value. And the committee suggests this year that we support them at the $25,000 level. The next agency is Glencoe Youth Services. They have 3 grant applications pending before us. They're requesting $43,000 for youth services, drop-in center. Last year, they were funded at the $25,000 level. They're also requesting for the special needs adult program, their so-called SNAP program, $10,000, which is no change from last year. And also for the young adults program, they're again requesting $5,000 for YAP, which is again no change from 2025. Now, the committee notes that the youth services program are utilized primarily by Glencoe middle school students, with little participation of students outside of Glencoe. Therefore, the committee could not justify increased funding and recommends to keep the youth services grant at the $25,000 level. The committee believes that the SNAP and YAP programs have an important impact on our township and are very good value and should be continued at current levels, $10,000 for SNAP and $5,000 for the young adults program. The next agency is the Housing Opportunities Development Corporation. They're a new agency for us to review, and they're requesting $5,000. Their mission is to support low-income residents living in Housing Opportunities Development Corporation apartments in Wilmette and housing for the homeless in Northfield. The agency has 32 clients in New Trier Township and has spent approximately $5,000 in the last year. The committee agrees with funding at the $5,000 level since this agency has a significant impact on the well-being of New Trier Township clients. The next agency is the North Shore Senior Center. They have 4 grant applications pending. They're requesting $47,000, $250 this year for their adult day services program. Last year, they were funded at the $45,000 level. They're also requesting $26,250 this year for the adult protective services program. Last year, they were funded at the $25,000 level. The third program, they're requesting $78,750 for the care coordination program. Last year, they were funded at the $75,000 level. And finally, they're requesting $10,000 for escorted transportation services, which is no change from the level of funding last year at $10,000. The increases that we note are secondary to costs of living increases only. All 4 services that the North Shore Senior Center provides result in excellent value for New Trier Township clients. The committee decided to fund the agency for the 4 programs requested at the same level as last year. $45,000 for adult day services, $25,000 for protective services, $75,000 for care coordination, and $10,000 for escorted transportation services. Okay, the next agency is the North Suburban Legal Aid Clinic. They're requesting $15,000, same as last year. Again, their mission is free legal services in domestic violence, housing, and immigration for low-income residents. The agency had 17 New Trier Township clients last year and spent approximately $31,000. They're excellent value. The committee agrees with funding the agency at the $15,000 level. The next agency reviewed was Pickles Group. They're requesting $25,500. Last year, they received $15,000. Their mission is to support children who have a parent with cancer through peer groups and resilience building activities. Last year, they served 35 New Trier Township clients, spending approximately $42,000. They're a very good value, and the agency expects significant increases in New Trier Township clients by at least 20%. The committee suggests the increased funding to $25,500, a 70% increase, due to great impact on New Trier Township children, and their expected increase in children served to be in 2026. The next agency is Rebuilding Together. They're requesting $65,000 this year. Last year, they received $60,000. Their mission is to repair homes of low-income homeowners so they stay habitable. Last year, they spent approximately $137,000 on 19 New Trier Township residents. They're of excellent value, and the requested increase of $5,000 is secondary to program expansion. The committee agrees to fund at the $65,000 level, an 8.3% increase from last year. The next agency is the Ronald McDonald House Charities. They're a new agency for us to review, and they're requesting $50,000. Their mission is to provide through Ronald McDonald Houses rooms for overnight stay and food for needy families so they could be close to an ill child. The committee notes that New Trier Township would be the only government funder for this agency, and the agency is already funded at the $16 million level through individual donations and special events. The committee decided against funding this agency due to it's already well funded and has not demonstrated a need to our satisfaction for additional financial assistance. The next agency is Alliance for Early Childhood. They requested $7,800, which is no change from last year. Again, their mission is to strengthen adult capacity to support child development through family programming, educational programs, free play activities, and professional development sessions. The committee felt that a lot of the programming and free play activities are already provided by libraries in Nutria Township. The committee voted to reduce the funding to $3,900 in 2026. The next agency is the Volunteer Center, with 3 grant applications before us. Again, their mission is to promote volunteerism, support nonprofits, and engage people of all ages in meaningful volunteer service. They're requesting first $21,245 for the Volunteer Center. Last year, they received $15,000. They're requesting this year $7,700 for a new grant request for community outreach. And a third, $16,195 for a new grant request for activities to support a junior board. The committee felt that the Volunteer Center has a major impact on Nutria Township operations. For example, there is significant staffing of our Nutria Township food pantry. And we voted to fund the agency at the requested amount for all 3 programs for a total of $45,140. Okay. The last agency we reviewed was the YWCA. They're requesting $25,000 for this year, no change from 2025. In their mission to foster gender, racial, and economic equity through domestic violence services and women leadership programs. Nutria Township residents were 51% of the total number of clients served. The committee felt that the YWCA has a great impact on the citizens of Nutria Township and agreed to continue their funding at the request level of $25,000. So thank you very much for allowing me to make this presentation. It's an honor to serve. I'm open for questions.
So just to remind the board, these are questions for the committee chairs, not amongst ourselves or meant to debate the issues. We will be discussing our decisions at the next meeting. With that, questions for Ed?
I have a couple. With respect to Ronald McDonald House Charities, is there presently a Ronald McDonald House in Nutria Township?
No, there's the closest one, I think, is associated with Northwestern, at the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
Yeah, Lori's at Northwestern, are the
Right.
2 closest ones.
Did they report serving any Nutria Township clients?
Yes,
In the last year?
yes, they serve a number of clients.
Okay. And what is the program specifically that they have requested money for?
It's to provide pay for hotel rooms and for food for the families which come visit their children, let's say at Lauria Hospital, Children's Hospital.
Okay. I didn't know if there was a specific program or if it's just kind of their operations of their kind of whatever it's from.
Really rooms
Okay.
and food.
So they do serve township clients,
Right.
but it's that you feel that they're overfunded by other sources.
They have plenty of money
No,
at this point.
Got it. And then with respect to the Alliance for Early Childhood Education, I note that, they've been receiving funding at the same level for a number of years, and only to this year have that halved. I'm interested in what the recommendations you have made to them or will be making in the funding letter to hopefully increase their funding for next year back to the levels that they've been receiving for 22, 23, 24, 25.
So from our notes, from the committee meeting notes, from what we have here, basically that a lot of the members started to feel like, one particular note was that the agency appears to be more of a curator of information there than in providing direct services. And several questioned, why the schools weren't providing this kind of support, or why parents weren't providing this kind of support.
Yep.
So for many of them, they just thought this particular program isn't necessarily fully aligning with what the township's mission is at the moment. And based on this stats that they gave us in terms of what they were serving, committee thought, well, they should still not be totally cut off, that they weren't doing the amount of work that maybe previous years they had. So the committee decided to reduce it, which, there was a long discussion about it, but I agree with the overall assessment based on the numbers they provided and kind of how they're doing their services versus how we're looking to, always evaluate what our agency partners are doing. I think they saw that maybe when they warn letter, we'll probably reach out to ask them more about expanding to be more of like direct service than as opposed to informational stuff.
Right, because we do not fund informational.
Correct.
Right. Okay, makes sense. This is a big jump for Volunteer Center. The community outreach program, can you tell us a little bit about what that is, separate from community service support?
Well, basically, they help staff multiple events around Newford Township. Whether it be fairs, gathering food for different agencies. We have a lot to list.
We also have, for the community outreach program, they help recruit volunteers for events like the Wilmette Farmers Market, Rotary events, various community gatherings, and they also would help provide another level of involvement for youth members to basically grow.
Over the year, there were about 15 events that they noted that they helped support by staff. Let's see.
And
Let me just.
yeah,
And
I pulled up their.
I would also say that in my end, I advocated strongly for the volunteer center as seeing Bridget here pretty much every day, basically, since we've had the SNAP funding issue, and I think Arnold can speak to it as he's working with her a lot. They've become very heavily involved in the township, almost at an our place level in terms of being involved. So based on what they were providing, the fact that they managed to continue to bring people in to show up and get through all of these SNAP bags, we're still here. I advocate for full funding because I believe that their programs would only continue to involve us and continue to grow. And I think these are all great things for youth to get involved, not only in volunteering, but understanding local government, particularly us and what we do. I think a lot of them got a crash course in the last year based on how things are going and see how important it is to have, local governments be available to people to help. And I think that the volunteer center is advocating the best form of caring and action we can get.
They help staff the job fair, Christchurch Rummage, Winnetka Farmers Market, Kenilworth Food Trucks, Mary Murphy Night, Abbott Charity Fair, Good News Partners, Crow Island Reading, Nutrit Job Fair, Glencoe Career Day, Glencoe Family Night, Glencoe Family Fair, North Shore Country Day Fair, Skokie 5th Grade, Nutrit Township Teachers Institute, Avoca, Chamber Lunches. So they have a huge number of activities which they staff.
About 2,000 attendees and 193 admin hours. So they're doing a lot of work out there in the community.
And they're staffing it with volunteers.
Correct.
Right.
And then there was another one. North Shore Senior Center, did you guys take a look at our share, as compared to Northfield per capita?
As far as we can tell, at least the North Shore Senior Centers is saying that, the cost is even between the two of us. As far as the numbers can tell, it's basically bears out, especially, they just sent us an update, a couple days ago, which I don't have in front of me, but I sent them with the usage statistics. So based on what we reviewed, it appears to be the case that it's proportional. And they're doing a lot of work in the township. They've really done up the escorted transportation in the last few years, particularly as we're recommending it in like a lieu of dollar ride for people because it's easier. They've gone up a lot.
And youth services, obviously, that's been one that we've talked about
Yes.
over the last decade.
Yes.
It sounds like they still don't have many people outside of Wilmette. Was there a discussion about cutting further? I'm sorry, outside of Glencoe Youth Services?
Yeah, Glencoe Youth Services. Basically, we were just hoping that the whole point of keeping them at the current funding level was that we would hope to have them continue to expand access outside of it. And the idea is that this year they didn't get there, and obviously all the agency partners had a lot of challenges based on what was going on, but this is, you know, in advance of what was happening this year. So the award letter will basically kind of spell out what we spelled out previously in terms of trying to increase participation outside of the same areas and trying to increase overall participation among schools as well.
I mean, it's very difficult for them to, because they're middle school students
Right,
and getting transportation over to the drop-in
right,
center.
but that's the point.
And,
Yeah.
so that's why, you know, we decided, you know, that the funding should not be increased. And, I guess, you know, maybe in 10 years when there are driverless cars to take the middle school kids to Glencoe, they'll increase the number of non-Glencoe resident students.
But that's not the question. You know, if they're not going to be in Trier, but that they have not shown any increase and they haven't shown much attack.
You know, they have, I spoke to the director, and they have difficulty getting kids outside of Glencoe to come. It's just logistically, it's hard. And, so it ranges between 75% and 80% of the students who go to the drop-in center and some of the other activities are really Glencoe residents. But the director, you know, does spend a lot of effort to try and increase the participation of students from Gwinnett and Winnetka.
That's what I want to know. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember from years past, that they, have some students who would come in, grab a snack and then go. Have they gotten any better with accounting for and signing people in and, you know, kind of being able to talk about actual numbers rather than a snack at the door?
No, unfortunately not. I mean, I remember last year, we wanted all the youth service agencies to keep better track of the students that come in and how much time they spend, what they do, but that has not been done. And certainly, I will be the liaison for that agency, and I will really emphasize for them to do that, to keep track of what the students are doing when they come to the Robbins, how much time they spend. But we do not know that now.
Thanks.
They say only 30% of their clients are township residents. Where are they coming from?
Well, a few come from Wilmette, a few come from Winnetka.
Yeah, but that's the township.
That is the
That's the
township.
Yeah, but 75% come from Glencoe.
You're saying 30%.
She's looking at their application. And in their application, they say that 30% of attendees to that program come from the township. But if they're saying that 75 or 80%.
Okay, that's just for SNAP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
SNAP.
I'm talking about the youth service.
For youth
program.
services, it's all in Trier Township,
Yes.
97%. It's just almost all Glencoe.
Yeah.
Okay, but they are making progress. It looks like 50 from Winnetka.
I mean, the SNAP and the app programs are wonderful programs.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Any other questions?
Yeah, I wanted to follow up on the volunteer center. It's a great center. I've known Barb to be because forever there, I mean, it's just terrific what they do. But again, the new program, so the community outreach and the junior board, are they in operation? I mean, do they have any results? Have you seen, I mean, is the junior board already
Yeah.
in action so that
Board takes responsibility for helping staff the.
Yes, correct. So they told us,
Pantry.
correct, these things have basically been devised and created, but they were
Okay.
kind of waiting on the funding aspect to come through on their end. But their presentation covered everything in terms of what they do and what the board plans to do. And they
Okay.
brought people, the kids who are part of or will be part of the board to speak
Okay,
as
so
well.
they're
we
already
heard
up
from
and
everybody.
running.
Yeah.
This is not like still a concept
Correct,
and they're
yeah.
waiting for the funding and then trying out the
They're
program.
active now.
Bridget's firing
Okay,
all cylinders,
okay.
so they've definitely got
Okay,
it going
and
on.
about what percentage are we funding versus other, donations or other entities helping to fund the junior board or the community outreach, or is it solely 100% from New Trier Township?
They do have outside funding from other places. A large portion of it comes from us. I don't have the budget directly offhand, so I don't know specifically. I do know that we are a large part of their funding sources, but
Of course.
Bridget said they've reached out to different corporate sponsorships and attempting to work with other municipal governments as well, but they've relied a lot on us over the last few years, but they
Sure.
are working to branch out.
So I can,
Yeah, go ahead.
I can tell you that, for the junior board members,
Mhm.
6th through 8th graders, to be on the junior board, you have to pay $25 a year. So I know that some of this comes from the kids themselves, to be part of this.
How many on the board? Do we know approximately?
I
I'm
wanna
curious.
say 10, but I don't
Okay.
know that for a fact.
Okay.
All of it's in our meeting minutes, notes and their applications as well, so we can always follow up with that.
Yeah, no,
Again,
it's a great idea. Happy to support.
they continue to be very impressive and
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
Very, very.
Yeah. And then just the other one following up again, I think it was the Pickles Group, they had the 70% increase,
Yeah.
so. Okay, so again, when you see those kinds of numbers, 70-80% jumps. Is this something also in operation that's
Yes.
impactful, that we're seeing the results for?
Part of the reason the committee went for it is that a couple of the kids who came here, when I met them a few years ago, they were very young, but now they're basically teenagers going on to become adults, and they came and explained their version of events. So like both of them had parents who had cancer. One of them passed, and I believe one of them, Mark's daughter, is still around. But they basically explained how they went through the process. They kind of developed the initial parts of pickles, and now they're currently implementing the stuff that they've learned with the next group of kids who are younger. So they've expanded like drastically over the few years they've been here, growing in every capacity. And every time I go to one of their events, the community house, it gets bigger every year, which is kind of partially sad because we're dealing with more people with cancer.
Right.
But the support group for the kids is just immense, and you can tell it's there. And the committee, I think, based on the presentation that was there and based on the testimony provided from the kids who are part of it, that they can tell this operation is very professional, and the increase was justified based on the amount of work they were doing in the township.
Yeah, great.
I mean, they expect approximately 20% increase in the number of, children they're gonna be taking.
Right,
care of.
coming in, they expect to see that, and that'll be something, all these to follow up with, that, next year, so it's great. No, I really appreciate the report and the work that both of you do, and the liaisons to these, like following up, going,
Yes.
They
going
also-
to them also,
they
so
also
thank you for
said
that.
They're putting out literature to different hospitals, and now they're actually going on a national scale. So they've gone from
Correct.
Wow,
what was
wonderful,
originally
wonderful.
a couple of families, and now they're just, every time they turn around, they get bigger and bigger and bigger.
Right.
Unfortunately, but fortunately.
Right, I was gonna say, I hate to see, the service they have to provide for this illness, but on the other hand, it's great to see that they are able to.
And they collaborate with the Cancer Wellness Center and Bare Necessities too.
Yeah.
So they're all working together to help keep the entire sphere circle of services for people with cancer and their families together. So they're all working in conjunction.
Yeah. Great.
And I like how Pickles wrote, when we asked what percentage of the total budget, that they wrote, it's 12% of North Shore program, commensurate half the cost for serving New Trier. That's exactly what I needed to know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, you hope they all
Thank
do
you.
that. Yeah,
Yeah. Cassie's a pro and working with her since they started
Yeah.
too, so.
Maybe we'll play with that question, so we get, everybody answers it that way.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
a bad idea.
yeah, great.
Any other questions for Ed or Ross Stages?
Thank you.
No, that was great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks for your service.
we're in line for mental health funding. While we are getting our handouts, just a reminder that we have all the reports right on
Yes.
of all of the.
All recordings and all meeting
Okay,
minutes
thank you.
are online now.
We're all online, so if you want to get more information on particular particular issues, and obviously all of the agency partner proposals are on there as well.
Okay, should I proceed?
Please.
Okay, I'm Joe McGowan. This is my fourth year on this committee. Also have a great committee to brag about. But I'd also like to echo what was said about Stephen. He's done a tremendous job. I had a couple years with his predecessor and a couple years with him, and both have taken it to a much higher level. So very, very happy to be working with him. What I'll do is I will just kind of go through, I understand we all have this list. And so I'll work in that order. The first one is the Children's Advocacy Center. Last year, the amount was 9,000. This year, it's 12,000 is what we're suggesting. And that just reflects the fact that the township clients have nearly doubled for the organization. All right. For the Counseling Center of the North Shore, they have two different types of requests this year. The first one is for their mental health therapy, which they've been doing for, I think that's really the way. And then they have this new community thread pilot that they wanted to start. And so they wanted for the mental health therapy to go from 70,000 to 84,000. We thought 80,000 was a more appropriate number. Historically, they have been a little bit underfunded in compared to some of the other organizations when we looked at it. And so it made more sense. And they've pointed this out before in the years I've been here. And so it makes sense to help them along those lines. And then this community thread pilot for $4,000, it just sounded very, very promising for us to go ahead, and 4,000 didn't seem like a big amount for a pilot such as that.
So yeah, the community threads pilot, which I actually talked with Tom about before they started. Basically, the agency is requesting this $4,000. It would create a pilot program to provide $150 what they would call credit cards for the thrift store over there. So basically, it would just be for township residents who qualify and are eligible to do it. The thought is like these would be people who, for whatever reason, if they dealt with some sort of trauma or injury and required some clothing or things like that, or new clothes, that they could be referred to by Gene or someone else to go through this program, and they would receive, based on the funding that we've got, a little bit of a prearranged credit so that they could go to the thrift store and acquire items that were needed without having to necessarily pay for it out of pocket or cover up to $150. I mean, if someone, the examples we're thinking were like if someone's in a domestic violence situation and had to leave and get clothes for some reason because they didn't have anything, they could go to the store and grab an outfit or something like that. So the whole idea is that it will also help work to drive people towards the thrift shop, which they're actively working to help improve their numbers on. And our thought was that if the pantry clients or anybody else is eligible for the programs, could use it, it would be helpful to get them in the door to work the thrift shop, and then also have access to the counseling center if they ever needed mental health therapy as well.
All right. Emeritus Lighthouse, the last 3 years, the funding has been 16,000 for it. That's what they requested again this year, and we recommend that amount as well. For the Family Service Center of Glencoe, they have two different components. One is the counseling and social services. Last year was 55,000, just a modest increase to 60,000 for that. But the bigger, I guess, more exciting thing to talk about is this senior services expansion. And what they're doing is they want to focus on how there's mental health associated with hoarding of goods and items. And so this is one that they've asked 20,000 for. We think it's a bit on the high end. Let's cut that in half, 10,000. It does sound promising when they came and presented to us.
Yes.
But we thought 10,000 would be more appropriate for this pilot.
Yes. I was gonna say, they also said in regards to senior services, they do collaborate with the North Shore Senior Center. So this is kind of a specific service that the senior center wasn't covering, particularly the hoarding part, but they can always coordinate with them and we can always reference people back and forth if needed. But it was the idea is that it wasn't a duplicate service for senior services, it was something that was not being explored currently, which is why we added it.
The Family Service Center will met. They've would like a request, they requested to go from 96,600 last year to 99,208. That's, it's a 2.7% increase over the prior year. And that seemed consistent with what we thought they should have. The Haven, I could go into a lot of history about the Haven, but they've had outreach as their first priority, along with family therapy for years. And so for those, they had requested 80,000 and 38,000, which mirror what happened the year before. And then the warming house drop-in program, that's something, it doesn't show it on here, but about 2 years ago, the warming house closed down. They took it over. I shouldn't say they closed down. They couldn't find someone to oversee it. They started overseeing that, and it's really gone very well for them. They focused first in Wilmette for their warming center, and then Winnetka invited them to use the one right by where I live, over by Indian Hill Park. And so it's right by the school. It's about a block and a half from the school. And so they get a lot of people that go to that, a lot of the students. And it's exciting because the last couple of years, they brought in quite a contingent in here to talk about from these students. And I'm always impressed that they give up their Tuesday night or Monday night, I guess it is, to come and talk about how much it means to them to be part of that. So again, the funding for that would stay constant at 70,000. So there'd be no suggested increase for Haven from the prior year. Okay, moving on. Jocelyn, this one, they're not asking for any increase, but it's just, it's worthwhile to note it's the largest amount that's on here. It's on 226,000. And for them, the agency serves many New Township clients, maintains excellent communication, and provides high quality programming such as Camp Nika. So just advocate that we keep the same level of funding as the prior year. For peer services, this one, there's the substance abuse prevention, which they've the funding would go from 42.4 to 43.7, so relatively modest increase for that one. Then substance use treatment, again, another small increase from 30,000 to 31,000. They have this innovative mobile recovery van that's going to expand access. That's the big excitement for them. Okay. SamariCare, holding steady at $25,000 for the last, this would be the third year in a row for that work. Thresholds, they wanted to go to 40,000. We actually suggested moving it down because their caseload has slightly decreased. So even though they wanted 40,000 again, we suggested go down to 38,000. It's a $2,000 slice. Two more here. Youth services. What's especially disappointing is their numbers have gone down. They're about pride, and they have two different parts: pride and share. And what they're sensing is in this environment, the pride, many of the pride participants in past years are reluctant to come forward. And so their numbers have gone down. And so the amount we're recommending for pride reflects that. So from 30,810 to 20,000. I think everybody on the committee would love to see that number, not because there's a need there, but would love to see that if there is such a need, that the funding would increase accordingly in upcoming years. Then finally, Zacharias Center, we're just doing level funding for them with requests for clarity on reserve strategy next cycle. So they have quite a bit of reserves. We did notice that. So even though they're not asking for an increase, we did wrestle with, does it seem to make sense to maybe cut that number back again? And so we were comfortable with keeping it at 7,000, but we did make it clear to them that we'd like to hear more about their nice reserves and what they plan on doing with that in the future years. So I'll stop there. Any questions?
I have a couple. Is Peer Services no longer doing adolescent substance treatment or adult substance treatment?
Great question. Those two items have been combined starting in 2024. So you can see that they call it the substance use treatment, it's AA combined. So that's what it is. So if you look, let's use 2023 as an example. The combination of those two was 20,750. Last year, this group, the committee and this group approved going to 30,000. And so it's back to 31. So it hasn't changed. It's
It's just
Thank you.
one program now.
House,
so
yeah.
two.
Understood. My other question, what does Samara Care do?
So Samara Care provides mental health counseling. They work with places like Bare Necessities as well. They help basically provide, they kind of do what, counseling center and all the places do. Mental health therapy, counseling sessions, psychiatry, places like that. They're a smaller organization, but they've been around for a long time and they haven't really asked for a big increase since 2022, basically. So they're another mental health provider who provide counseling services, psychiatric services, and the whole.
Are they
range of mental
local?
health.
They're
Yeah.
right in the corner.
Yeah, right in the
I
corner.
don't know.
They're in the church around the corner.
Yeah, they're really right down the street.
Yeah.
So,
We can go for a site visit.
I'm sorry,
That's another.
with respect to the counseling center of the North Shore, the community thread pilot, I know that Jean gives vouchers already for New Trier Township clients to, go to and, shop at the thrift store. How are we gonna make sure that we're not duplicating efforts? And, with the pilot there?
Yeah, did they explain how this was different?
So basically, they would explain that they would create a system on their end that would have everybody checked in. So eventually, basically the idea is that Jean would be able to not duplicate the two people. If someone comes in and says, I need assistance with this, she can provide either the other voucher or the voucher for this program. We haven't fully worked out the implementation part of it, but basically their hope is that through referral, either through Jean or whoever else, that they wouldn't double count it. Otherwise, they could also work with other agency partners. If somebody needed something, they could work with them as well. But the idea is that if either Jean got it or another social worker got it and could refer it to them, they would keep track of it on their end, and they would basically see if somebody came in and got both one voucher through a different program and one from this program.
Okay.
Who is gonna be the member of the committee that is keeping track of that for the year? Do we have one of the committee members?
I don't remember who the liaison is for Counselor of the North Shore offhand, but yeah, the idea is that they would follow up and.
Yeah,
They would follow up, and we would say that if this program is there, we would need statistics on it.
Yeah.
Pretty much immediately and monthly, if not, monthly updates
Right.
about how many people use it.
well, we also need to loop Jean in on this then,
Yes.
obviously, so that she's, being, thoughtful.
I'll
about
ask
that
her
too.
to weigh in on this program ahead of our
Yeah.
session meeting.
Okay,
Erica's Lighthouse. Our main concerns in the past have been that they were more educational than service provider, and we don't fund educational programs. Have they assuaged your fears that they are in fact an educational program?
As far as we can tell, yeah, because even though they're educating the educators, they do the big, huge, they count all of the high school as part of the class, but they're in a big group. Technically, teaching the kid, bringing these materials and showing them to the kids so they can learn themselves is a service that they have. And they haven't asked for an increase since we kind of had that dust up a few years ago about people not fully understanding what they were doing and them not elaborating on it. So I think on their end, they know that they have to give a better impression about what they're doing. They'll just want to have an ask for an increase. And the committee felt that way as well.
Okay. And peer services, the mobile recovery van, my understanding is that they were gonna park at the respite center and at
Correct.
Connections. Were
Correct.
they also going to New Shore Township?
Correct. So the idea is that there will be, a lot of it would be responding to a lot of the areas where it would happen. So the township doesn't have a lot of, basically it'd be like if they find somebody who's either unhoused or in the streets and provide services there effectively and going to them. So a lot of that would be more in the Niles area. Theoretically, because they are here, someone the township could get it, but they said that our area doesn't necessarily have that kind of problem. You don't see people, walking around unhoused who are suffering from addiction in the area generally. So they'll be in more of those areas, but they will serve any area that has it. So they will be able to come to township if requested.
Great.
Or
Any additional questions?
Just a quick one. What does Share do as opposed to Pride for Youth Services?
So Share is more of a, how would I say it? It's not necessarily focused on like the LGBTQ aspect of the group. It's more of like a general group together, hanging out, understanding youth type of deal, which that program hasn't had seen the problem because it's not LGBTQ focused. Versus Pride, that one is more focused on like, be comfortable with yourself and who you are, and just the environment has made that one not as popular over the last few years.
So like a counseling service that does group?
Yeah, basically, it's another version of that does another group visits, hanging out, I'm thinking of.
It says puberty and human reproduction programs,
Yeah.
health and relationship boundaries, emotional identification, mindfulness, stress management, internet safety, sexual harassment versus flirting, consent. So a lot of workshops and group programs.
Yeah, and those continue to be big and popular and don't face as much issues as the other ones, so.
True.
Thank you.
Of course.
And you've been to their renovated space. Okay. Anyway. Wonderful. Any other questions for? Oh. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Here.
This bump handshake, all right. And it appears my disability chair has not shown, so I guess, shall I just?
If you wouldn't mind.
Do you want to sit down? For sure.
Kidding. I'll,
Thanks.
I'll back you up.
For sure. She was there, she knows.
and I hope you'll message him. Here, I can.
Oh, yeah, please.
Get
I also wanted to give a special
Thank you.
shout out to trustee Kate. She's helping with the revision of the bylaws for the committees as well. So after this process is done, we'll have that for review and for approval. So thank you for taking over the notes, and it's on the back burner, but I still have it there. So always good to have lawyers insight on legal language.
There you go.
So take that because. All right, so then I guess I will go over the disability ones. Thank you. All right, it's the same thing. I'll just go in order down the line here. Maybe minutes. Oh, okay. So. All right, let's take a look here. So for disability, we've had many of the same agencies we've had in the last few years with a couple of people one new program, one who applied last year, for the agencies entirely. Otherwise, it's a similar cast of characters. So going on the list, Arts of Life requested $30,000, an increase of the $5,000. The agency provides quality, they provided quality responses to financial oversight questions. A lot of people had questions about their assets, how they control them, stuff like that. They also appreciated that regarding the request additional funding they kind of knew that the Medicaid cuts were coming, so they were invited in advance of that. And they continue to have artists who are very big and even promoting international competitions with them. So they asked for $30,000. We thought it was a pretty good value. The art programs in particular, I think we don't necessarily think of as like as a direct service, but it is a therapy program and it does provide stuff that we can present here to show everyone where our money goes. So they're big fans of that on Arts of Life. Center for Enriched Living asked for $30,000, and it was a flat increase. Committee state agencies mission focused and incredibly responsive to individuals and families. They continue to do a great job. The committee unanimously approved their request of $30,000. Clearbrook. So Clearbrook is actually a little bit of a change. So they are shifting away from two programs to one consolidated community service program. So they're kind of moving out of the Stilla program and into this particular one. So they are not renewing the lease at the facility they're at, Tigney, and they're splitting their service into smaller ranch style homes to improve client experience. They served 242 residents last year, and expecting 266 this year. So, they continue to do great work on their end, and because they're consolidating their programs and try to moving towards a different model, we believe they'll be successful with that. The SILA in particular is difficult in this area because just trying to find a physical space is very difficult, as they've all told us. So I think a lot in this area in particular, a lot of them may be moving away from that model just because the sheer amount of real estate available is not helpful for it. So the committee thought, okay, those two programs combined for the extra 5,000 seemed appropriate. Glennkirk, we've been working with them for the last few years, and they've been fortunate to have a mom, Christy Wrigley, come in and testify both at our committee meeting and at both at our initial review meeting and as part of the agency funding hearings, along with another parent whose name I'm blanking on now, but they stress very importantly how important the residential services and the respite services were for them, because as working parents, they really could not function without it. And so while Glennkirk is working and they're still working to help improve their numbers, they did bring in folks to basically say this work is important. And Christy, in fact, volunteered to help lead workshops here to help people sign up to the process, because her testimony was that the biggest hurdle for parents is just the paperwork that goes with this. So the idea is that if Glennkirk, if they wanted to, or we could host a little, thing up here where people could come in if they had questions about how to sign up for it, because it's very daunting, at least from my understanding, especially the last few years, is signing up a child with abilities to go through a state program like that. So the committee thought that they continued to do great work, so they wanted to keep the levels that requested. So the 14,000 for residential services, the 34,000 for the day employment services, 5,000 for respite, 5,000 for the behavioral clinic. Cashit, one of the newer agencies as well. Everyone thought they did a fantastic job. They continue to do great work. Our liaison from there noted that he went there to visit there, and he noted the good pool facilities and the robust summer programming, and their presentation everybody thought was pretty solid. So they approved their request of the extra 5,000 from $10,000 to $15,000. Lamb's Farm, long-term fan favorite. They continue to basically, from last year, they're working to expand their corporate sponsorships and look for other sources of funding. They're doing improvements. I don't know if anybody's driven by them recently, but they're doing construction now. So they're currently in the process of updating everything. Both the people they're caring for and the facilities in which they're being cared in have aged a lot. So they're working on improving, stuff that's been around for 50, 60 years and needs updates. Plus the challenges of caring for an elderly population with special needs is a whole nother program they're dealing with. Plus with confusion over Medicaid and what's going to happen in the future, they're worried about that as well. But they continue to be financially responsible. So the committee agreed to fund them at the level they requested for the $45,000. Our place, same as before, they continue to come in, working with Katie, the new executive director. She's been great. They continue to come in and work with Arnold in the food pantry. Been over there several times, have seen several new things they've done with the church. They won a contest recently through Lowe's. They got $20,000, I believe, to help renovate their doors and areas. So they're looking for outside funding as well. They continue to be a great example. They continue to say they're keeping people busy. So the committee agreed to their increase for $155,000. Did I skip our house? If I skipped our house, I'm sorry. Our house, same thing. They filled out. They continue to have the full area there. They're in the process of trying to. Basically, they're working with another organization for future transition planning because they're getting older as so are the residents. So they're going to work with a new agency that will eventually either theoretically take over or partner with our house because they want to keep this model going where it's the people who live in the house and work together. It's a unique model that really only exists as far as we know kind of here in terms of its being successful and popular. But they are working with a new organization to transition so that they would be like the main either overseer or caretaker or parent company, however you want to say it. But basically, they're working with them to try to figure out, again, the Silo situation is hard. There's a backlog there's a waiting list, federal issues are not sure. So there's a lot of stuff up in the air on their end, but the committee thought that they had everything in place and the $45,000. All right, going down to Search. Search Inc. asked for $10,000 again, no big increase from before. From our notes here, they had a strong financial position and stated the service is valuable and the request reasonable. We also had a parent testify about ongoing support through search as well, including the gentle roll-off approach and re-engagement when needed. So they continue to do a lot of great work in the area and help employers. So the committee agreed to their request of $10,000 because they didn't ask for anything special, extra, and they continue to get feedback. Special guest theater, they continue to do great programs as well. So they asked for 2 programs, $31,000 for the musical theater and $10,000 for the Putting Inside the Line. Every time they come in, they always bring a bunch of kids who are always happy to volunteer. And a lot of them, they get into it because they love musicals, but then they later want to work in the field with people with disabilities. And the members who come in testify how good it makes them feel that they're able to go out and perform and, you know, do anything that they want to do, particularly stuff like music. And they've also sent us complimentary tickets, so feel free to attend a visit, which I plan on going to one of those at some point soon. But the committee thought they continued to do a great job and thought, unfortunately, they were hit earlier in the year with Doge. They lost a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts, which was about $10,000, so they felt it as well. But the committee thought that their request was reasonable, so they approved the $31,000 for the musical theater program and the $10,000 for the Create Outside the Line program. All right, the Chicago Lighthouse. So this agency, the Chicago Lighthouse Huber Center, is an agency that helps people with visual disabilities. I think Trustee Kate had it best when I put it out there what the funding was, and she just said no, straight up. Their presentation was over Zoom. They basically were given the impression that they needed money to build a database to reach out to people here, and that was not what we do. Although they do work with the Hadley Center across the street, and they are doing work in the township. The committee did not feel that their request was, they requested funding for equipment rather than programs. And they thought that they could apply in the future to reframe, so they decided to not fund the Chicago Lighthouse. Driven Foundation applied last year and applied again this year. However, they haven't changed their model. They buy vans for people with mobile disabilities, handicap accessible vans. The charities that they raise money to buy a van for people who need in the township. Again, we thought it was a very worthy goal, and they only asked for $35,000 this year, close to $100,000. But the committee thought, again, this particular service was not kind of what we were going for. So they again voted to not fund it as well. This is the last one, Total Went to Community. They continue to grow and help many of the residents get hired and maintain employment. And I've been to a couple of their workshops as well over the year. They're also doing great work. They're providing a great value. And the committee thought that the $14,000, which they've requested for many years in a row, was a consistent value. So they requested $14,000, which puts the total amount for the disability committee in requests at $468,000.
Which is a $14,000 increase from last year.
Correct. So now I will open it up for questions.
That's a good report. Well, I just have one question on search. I remember in the past, there's for the money, they would provide so many training sessions
Yes.
either the schools or the public safety.
Right.
Personnel. So are they still, because there was some difficulty there a couple of years where they did maybe one training session
Yes.
or two, but they still wanted their 10,000 and
They
so.
gave us a rebate.
Yeah, I remember I remember we asked for it
They-
because
We didn't ask, they gave it.
so
They-
have they improved on
Yes.
the training, so it's justified for
Yeah.
that amount of money?
So a lot of that was like COVID being,
Right, I remember there
in-person
was some-
training. Since then, no, they've continued to grow. From what our notes say, they served 175 residents last year.
Okay, good.
Amount. So they continue to do a lot of trainings and they continue, it's gone up every year since COVID, so.
Yeah, no,
As,
that's
I think
good.
as in-person is continuing to be popular again, they'll probably continue to grow as time goes on.
Yeah, and I think they're still funded by JJ's List
Right.
and that Keystone Alliance,
Yeah.
so they get good funding, which is
Yes.
also important, I think, because they're not just dependent on New Township.
Exactly.
Okay, great, thank you, that's all.
Of course.
Is our house still one house
Yes.
with 4 residents?
Still one house with the residents in it, and they were struggling for a few years to fill up, but now they filled it in. All the guys work together, they work out chores together. They really have built a nice little family for themselves over there. And I think the hardest part is just as the parents get older, it's becoming harder on them to keep it
Yeah.
together, which is why they're looking for another organization to take over. Because a lot of these parents are starting to age out or aging themselves. It's becoming difficult for them to help. take
We're
care of
getting in a house.
Are they still considering a new house, because they've been talking about that
For
for several years.
They have,
Oh, the girl.
same thing,
Yeah.
their current house is still at Bones, they have looked at it, but again, they're facing the same housing situation as everyone else is. So always looking for stuff, not a lot available, but the current house they're in has had some good work on it done, so it will hold if they need it for the foreseeable future, but they're always looking for better options, it's just, there's not a lot of the ranch homes that are needed for these particular type of residences that are around.
Cranes reported just last week that Wilmette was, like one of the few areas that saw huge increases in demand
Yeah.
in this economy. And, Arts of Life, we seem to be like 4 people that they're serving,
Yeah, that sounds about correct.
4 people for $30,000.
But based on what I remember is that the value of the work that they're doing is that it allows artists to basically do this for a living as opposed to just making it a kind of a side hustle. Don't have the statistics in front of me, but from what the committee stated, remember we did talk about the numbers of people being there, but that the value was still pretty good in terms of what was provided for it. They've been a partner for a long time, and the art therapy programs that's been mentioned before are, very important for this particular population, and it's a way to be both creative and therapeutic for them. So the committee thought, even though the numbers aren't necessarily super high, it was still justifiable for that $30,000.
All right, maybe we can talk offline just a bit more, because it says cost per service unit, 2,621. So I don't know if those 4 people are getting a real lot of service units. We obviously aren't allowed to pay more than the cost of the actual service.
For sure.
Contracting for services.
For sure.
All right. Any other questions on disability?
Does Lamb's Farm present an appropriate budget these years?
Yes, they've gotten much better on the budgeting framework. The new guy they hired is a lot more numbers focused than they have been in the past. So yeah, their budget they presented is, everyone likes our application because it gives them kind of a good rundown for other applications. And the budget lines are pretty easy to read for the most part. So we kept those from the old form as well. So they continue to do well on their end. I do want to say though, I don't know if I mentioned this before, we asked all of the agencies basically how they've been dealing with the new administration, and all of them had kind of similar deals. Many of them had clients with SNAP, they all saw their funding cut. If they had if they worked in different federal programs or Medicaid, they're all worried about the cuts that are there. And many of them had to deal with the fact that their clients are afraid to go out because they have seen ICE and CPP in the streets. And even though they're not looking for these people, no one knows what happens when these interactions happen. So a lot of the agencies are very worried about the foreseeable future. They are happy though that the township continues to provide excellent service and that we're always wanting to work with them. And we're just hoping that the future is a little bit better, and that, with the unpredictableness of the federal government at this point, that to have a good local partner like us is really critical for them at this time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your diligence.
Of course.
We'll talk tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll pull up the stuff, I'll pull up everything else from our
Okay,
life.
Staff questions?
Yeah. Anything else that anybody needs before the next meeting, let me know. I'll pull it all up and I can add it as part of my board report.
Perfect.
I'll be here anyway, so, we'll ask questions.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I forgot to mention, so I went to the special gifts, Heather had sent her, thank you for sending around that email on the performances, so,
Oh,
yeah, they really.
Which
did-
one did you go
This
to?
was a Mary Poppins
Oh,
Junior
cool.
that just was this past weekend, and really, it's fantastic.
Yes.
Definitely, worth every dime that we give them, it was just terrific, so I encourage all of you, go to one of their performances,
Yes.
it's just great.
I hope that you go in March at Skokie School, because my niece will be Dorothy.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a big thrill. And I
Yeah.
go celebrating with her. I just learned,
Yeah, yeah.
and she's
definitely good.
beaming about it and all the stuff you said she did.
Oh, the March one? Yeah, definitely. I'll be there for
You
that.
gotta be.
Yeah, yeah.
Skokie School.
The ticket's like $20,
Yeah.
so it's not a big
Exactly.
deal.
But they continue to provide great work, and I love working with the agencies. I do a lot of passports and notary stuff. I feel like that's my main job a lot of days, working with the agencies and seeing the work that they do and seeing people come in. It's a reminder of why we do what we do here.
Yep. Yeah,
We're here to help people, and we do it a lot, and a lot of people need a lot of help. I can't do without you guys, and thank you for your help as well.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Legislative updates, the deadline is coming up for filing, bills, so we'll have more of a sense of what's been filed. But right now, there are a few that have come through that will affect townships. Most of them are done by Representative Didich, who's a former township supervisor, so he likes to play with the code. The most interesting one
I'm glad he does.
is HB 4265. He sends me this by text. This is hilarious. It's like, did you know this was a thing? So apparently, in the township annual meeting, according to the code, the moderator basically has the power to, like, utilize any municipal police department to ensure order during the course of a meeting and charge $10. So this is still in there. So we would like to not have tiny authoritarianism. So the concept would be
Or mass authoritarianism.
Yeah.
Sorry.
right.
Sorry.
But
And thankfully, we haven't encountered.
we haven't encountered it yet, but it's
And
a weird
I
quirk
prepared-
that we need to fix.
I prepared 2 sets of moderator scripts just in case, so I don't know if you know, I
Just
mean,
in case someone became a.
no,
Yes.
they, no, I meant I have copies so that in case we have more than one candidate.
Got it.
And we have for
Got it.
clarification, please.
Okay, so we'll follow that one,
Anyone watching, that was.
yes. Some of the other changes relate to, clarifying township quorum, since we are a small body, so ensuring that 3 members constitutes a quorum, and that we need 3 members for any affirmative vote during, when we have only 3. Noting that supervisor counts. Some issues regarding like notices, putting them on your website, but not getting rid of newspaper notice, because of the newspaper lobby. Related to contracts, that are entered into close to an election, so how far they can go over to the next board, so you're not saddling a new board with all of your contracts and theoretically your friends and family. And then there will also be some bills discussing, abolishing road districts, not our issue considering we don't have one. But if you recall, that had been passed in McHenry County, and in Lake County. So this would just be to extend it to Cook County. And this is for very small township road districts. So
Who takes
15
over the
miles.
responsibility?
I'm sorry,
Who takes over that responsibility
for the 15 centimeter.
if they get it right?
It goes to the county, but I think the idea is for you to hopefully get that all incorporated, but not my issue. There's also some small ones about some townships have park district powers, so not our issue. Another would be to include the entire credit card statement in the financial report. So I talked to Larisha, we're just gonna start doing it ourselves. And then related to, municipal officers. When you can be both a township supervisor and run a village, as you might guess what that's from. So, and then some of these statutes from last session are still theoretically there, like SB 2504, which was the township consolidation bill, the 5% petitioning to get that on the ballot. If you recall, it had died in rules, but theoretically it could be resurrected. We have no reason to think it will be, but theoretically it could be. Any questions on legislative? All right, hopefully, if you're interested in coming down to Springfield, it's always a good time. We'll make some ethics changes to the code and hopefully make things a little bit easier for people to find information. All right. Next. Acknowledgement of staff reports. We have received staff reports from all of our staff other than Brian Leverins. Brian Leverins gave us a report via email saying that they have discontinued peer jury while we wait for the report from trustee Tucker. Artie, anything anyone wants to bring from any of the staff reports for discussion?
Did we get reports from Stephen Arnold?
Yes.
Okay, I'm still, I know.
I would like to once again commend Heather for her extensive report. And I have one question, which is what's trick or trunk?
The Wilmette, Police Department with the Wilmette Public Works has started doing like a trick or trunk or treat, so they, like, go in your car, like trunk or treat, trick.
Oh, okay.
So the police department, when they got a new, police chief, wants to do more outreach programming.
Thank you.
It was a lovely event.
Gail and I were, she was a unicorn, I was a monarch butterfly.
And we handed out.
We handed out our milkweed
The
a week
milkweed.
ago with the monarch pledge.
Anything else?
Real quick, Gail.
Mhm.
Ryan, sorry, because I didn't get this, I didn't have it for my report. I do have the last check distribution for the agencies will be February 4th this year. Just because that was the previous meeting and all the other stuff that's there. So we'll do that. Trustee Kate will give us a presentation on the monarch butterfly. We're still doing that, correct? And then we will,
Oh, at the agency? Oh, good.
so that'll be fun. And then also, I don't know if anybody noticed outside, we replaced the old flag with a brand new Chris American flag and a township flag.
Yeah.
So they're both out there to help increase visibility for the building for township. So if anybody asks, come to look for the township flag outside, help out.
Great idea.
And we posted it with Steve on our social media.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't see it.
and I would just follow up on Heather's report, and thank you for that also. February 18th, following up on peer jury, before I finalize the report, we are going to talk to some of the school superintendents. Hopefully,
So far, I mean, Peter Tragos is coming and Paul Weckler, but, all the township, administrators have been, like North Shore Country Day, they've all been invited, but New
Right,
Trier is
yeah.
the one that has
Okay.
RSVP'd at this point.
Well, 1 or 5, it will just be great to follow up and just get their feedback, and so that would be very helpful. And peer jury, yes, as supervisor has said, it's been suspended because they're not getting any cases, so it's not.
You're not getting cases.
No cases whatsoever. None are coming in. They had 5, I think, this entire year, and that was earlier in the spring before school was out. So that's the reason it's been suspended.
New business. That's me. No, you're continuing.
Oh.
Played it. They were so
That's great.
Continuing.
I like it. All right.
No, it's me. I love my butterflies. What can I say? So I am unreasonably excited to tell you guys that our report from 2025 was officially approved. So we are in good standing with Butterflies Everywhere. And we have re-upped for the 2026 calendar year. I've kind of filled out all the paperwork, and remember the way that this works is you got to choose at least 3 actions of gazillion that they give us for budgetary reasons and the fact that, you know, we're a small little group. We try and choose things where we are amplifying the voices of some of the incredible groups in New Trier Township that are already doing this stuff. And so there are some familiar ones that, you know, are gonna kind of come back. But then one that I am gonna try to kind of get some life under is to start engaging with a number of our community gardening groups to kind of urge them to plant native milks, weeds, and nectar producing plants. Many of these groups, this is not going to be a hard sell. They're doing it already, but I think it's not a bad thing for us to, you know, kind of offer a cup of coffee and a place to kind of gather and say, we're on your team. And as Steve mentioned, I'm going to be kind of presenting to all of our agency partners at the last check luncheon next month to kind of, you know, tout our ability to, you know, bring some of their art in. And Heather and I are kind of collaborating to see if there are non-agency partners, but still kind of, you know, organizations within New Trier Township. Think about some of the schools that might be interested in kind of joining this kind of effort too, to kind of further the outreach so that Butterflies Everywhere know that we support them. So, my hope is that, next month or possibly in March, I will have the proclamation, for us to take a look at, but it'll be pastures.
Perfect, wonderful.
Thank you.
Any additional continuing business? Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, I will see you on February 10th, if not earlier.
Thank